beautiful Marcia. Excuse me. All right. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. Had to overcome a little adversity here tonight. Had the stream all ready to go, and we had to reboot, so that's why we're running a little late tonight. So, get a little adversity of my own that I have to overcome as well. So, here we are at, whoopsie, if we can get September 3rd pulled up here, 2024. All right, and then let me get this started up here. And while that's loading up, I'll take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time, even in replay, to be here and be part of this precious family. This is not your average, everyday YouTube live stream. I think you guys have figured that out by now. This is my opportunity to reach out to my family that I cannot come over and touch physically so we can be caught up together and do our show. Okay. Here we go. September 3rd again, 2024. 9/3/24. Okay, let me go ahead and capture this opening frame here when it rolls back around. And we'll march through this as well as stereo A. Okay, opening frame 024. Here we are. Got this little satellite pulling away. You can see its wake coming off of it, even the instrument reacting to it here. It's probably more right here, right where the lines kind of bubble out around it. So this circular thing right here, this is the shadow or the ghost image with the trailing wake behind it. As we keep going through here, boom, boom, boom. Something else before we go any further, as this thing exits the screen, I want you to look over here on this side and see our red or our yellow spire regions sticking out, okay? And I've told you before, these things act like compass needles sometimes at incoming events. So as we proceed here, you see another little thing kind of spit and sputter in there. And bingo, right out of this spire region right here comes our next big event right there. Back it up. You can see it's just starting right there. Boom, boom. Now this one's just really widespread like this. Almost looks like a bird with feathers, with its wings spread and feathers all splayed out like that. Where's the image? This one really didn't have too many good images. You can see something right up in this region going on. You got to be up in 3 hours. Well, looks like you're up for the day. Over here, you can see this plasma kind of reaching out, this V-shaped bow shock over here or tail to it. All right, but there's not much to really see in that one, so you could always catch the rest on replay, Cindy. All right, so that event kind of moves on out there. It was a pretty big event. That whole halo effect is heading away from Earth, so that's good news. Then over here, you can see this little spire region. Out comes this little thing again over here. Another trailing moon or object or something here. Over on this side, you can see a little tiny black one, some other ones here along with it. So that moved on out. Now, what I want to do here, we'll put that into motion one more time for you so you can see that. Okay, so something bigger moved out through there. It was kind of buried in the plasma back there. There's so many little satellites trailing along with it. Plus, that thing moved through really fast too. Watch how fast it goes by compared to everything else. So that's why I want to come over here to stereo A, same day. Boom here. Now this only takes 1 frame per hour, but the frame we want, there's a good shot right there, huh? But that's not the frame I want. Let me just scooch a little bit. There we go. You see this little guy moving out down here? See the little V shape? Okay, remember that guy. And this is just a different, just off of our regular perspective, off to the right a little further. So here, over here, this one's, the imaging isn't as detailed as the other one, but over here, you can see, here's our bigger round object right here with smaller moon satellite right with it right there. You can make them out over here kind of. Let me just kind of scroll up right. Actually, looks like it's capturing it pretty well right there. And you can see how the plasma comes out and splays over this and keeps traveling over the edge of the circle there. So that one's pretty hard to see, but it's in there. I had to come over here to kind of see it, but you can make out there's your bigger circular kind of going outside the frame here and back in. So your bigger object right there with the 2 little satellites with it. Okay, so now let's come on over here to Solar Ham and get started up here. First of all, our solar flux index is 242. It's up another 4 points, okay? Our solar spot number count is down 67, so we're in the green. We dropped a bunch of sunspot, so our count is down. The area is way into the green, too. That's good. So let's pop this open really quick. Take a little peekarooski here. You guys doing okay? I feel some of you guys suffering, so hang in there. Meanwhile, very gapped on this one. We do have a little blue pole, a little positive to the negative here growing. So, but otherwise, the 2 stronger ones are pretty gapped. So that one's rotating out of strike zone pretty soon here anyway. This is one to be concerned about because it's very complex. And then the one that just fired off, they think is 3813 here. And then there's another more on the backside coming around. So, all right, now I want to back out of this, slide and scroll and see how fluxed we are. Solar flux, that is. Our goes solar X-ray flux for today. Pretty good on the wavy lines there. All right. You can see our, we're still having a D-layer absorption event. All right, and then up here, here's your block for today, and here's your little M flare that we saw. Okay, that was not little, that was your object moving by right there. But it wasn't at least it wasn't one of those big long duration ones, okay? So another little M flare out of there today. Meanwhile, here's a little peek into tomorrow. Want to go take a peek at this? Because it did climb up and negate this dropout right there. It just went straight across right here. So we did have a little uptick there really quick. You want to see that? No? Tough. We're going to look anyway. You guys are good sport. Going on up here, still in this little region. You see how this is kind of flaring and splaying out? Coming up this way. Kind of changing direction, like it's adjusting for something in that region coming out there. All right, so there's a little peek into tomorrow already. Nothing spectacular, thankfully. Meanwhile, X-flare potential 25%. Your proton storm ongoing 60%. What? It's only at 60% proton, or your chances are 60%. Anyways, either way, we have a ongoing proton event. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom on out now. And still on our 3-day geomagnetic forecast, all clear for the next 3 days. That's always subject to change as well, because some of this stuff, backside flares and CMEs are affecting us. So that could change. Anyways, hopefully it stays like that. I'm all good with no geomagnetic storming, okay? I don't want to see any more absorption. Meanwhile, we've had plenty already. I could pull up the D-layer map here in a minute. Meanwhile, our M3.3 was our flare for today. And then just all beta gamma. This is the one I'm concerned about, 3813 right here. It's beta gamma and growing. That's the new one that's kind of rotating into view. And if it continues to grow until we see an event come off of it, it might go beta, gamma, delta. We'll see here. Meanwhile, our geomagnetic field is quiet right now. That's good. I will take this all day long. Look at how quiet the auroras are. That's beautiful. We're like at KP1, all right? That's nice and quiet. So thankfully for that. That's some good news. All right, here we are for September 3rd. The large coronal mass ejection is visible this morning in the latest imagery courtesy of Blasco. This appears to be related to a far-side event well beyond the northwest limb and is directed away from Earth. It is still possible that energetic particles may find their way toward our planet and contribute to the proton enhancement currently in progress. Okay, so we already had one currently in progress. This pops off and, well, enhances the extension of that. Okay. This was the result of the large CME observed on September 1st off the southeast limb. Okay, so we had one off the southeast, that big one that we showed you before. Now this one coming off the southwest limb, and both of them, this one's kind of contributing to our proton storm as well. Okay, and as of this update, the proton levels remain below the minor S1 storm threshold. Let's take a peek at the tracker and do some track-lacking since we're lacking the tracking. All right, beautiful display of it going that direction. And after looking at Stereo A and comparing it with the Soho, the object seemed kind of like to pass back this way. So I don't think we're going to get any kind of residuals from this one. It's hard to tell. These things are really hard to track, especially with Stereo A being right here and our other satellite being right there. So, or this one. No, that's not it. Which one's Soho? Oh, that's the Parker. Anyway, Soho is right in front of the Earth, and then Stereo A is out here a little bit. So we're getting kind of a similar perspective. I wish I could get a good measurement on this angle right here. I could give you a little bit better idea of what direction stuff is going. Anyways, we got to get back out of this here. They're not showing everything on there. Let's back on out and come on over to a new source of flares over here at spaceweather.com. The big new sunspot group AR3813 is turning towards Earth. and crackling with M-class solar flares. This potent sunspot has already hurled multiple CMEs towards Venus, and Earth will soon be in the line of fire as the active region turns towards our planet this week. So, major far side explosion yesterday. Something exploded on the far side of the sun, and it was a big one. SOHO coronagraphs detected a bright halo CME flying almost directly away from the Earth. Okay. Flying away, yet they're still affecting us. And although the blast site was hidden and the CME is not coming towards us, the explosion nevertheless touched our planet. Earth orbiting satellites detected a surge of energetic particles striking our atmosphere. That's not good. Okay. The particles were scooped up and accelerated through the solar system by shock waves and the expanding CME. Okay. The shortwave radio blackout is underway in the Arctic Circle, and that's due to your once I'm done with this, we can go over here and pull up a D region really quick. Oh, I had such a beautiful show all laid out, all in sequence and everything, and then had to reboot the whole show. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to let the little movie play there for a second. You can already see we're in yellow up above here. Yellow, and nope, kind of turning orange now on both down below. It's getting a little redder now. You can barely make out down below. We're about here on this little timeline. So we've been absorbing at both poles for quite a while and quite intensely too. See this red growing and then staying. All right, these other events happening on the sun add to this, continue this even longer, draw it out longer. And there we are towards the end. All right, so let me just kind of grab this thing if I can. Oh, where's the scoocher? Scoocher. There we go. If I can just get a little bit of that. So it went from yellow to orange and then stayed in the red for most of the day there. All right. So since that, we've been taking on a lot of energy. And wait, let me pull up also the Schumann here as well. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Nice kind of calm day here. We had a little scraping here and there, but came out of it pretty well and some good continuity. Little tiny weakness in there, but pretty good so far. And I just clicked on this, so this is our latest data. All right, so pressure's kind of relieved for a while. There's a little spit and sputtering, but nothing like this. Okay, so kind of a little easier, mellow mood or whatever right now for everybody, at least. All right, over here, let's get going here. Are we already on the storms? No. Okay, so we have this big storm out here in the Pacific winding up here. It looks like it wants to try to push into this region here, so we will see what happens. Meanwhile, we got a vortex now on the top of the planet. Bingo. And that's not your polar vortex. That's a heat-induced little anomaly there. Another one here. Another one here. Here. And look what's about to, well, wallop China. And it's whipping winds around Taiwan as well. All right. And then what else was there? Was that all of them? Hello, Tiger's Eye. We love you here. A little storm still kind of going up in that region. All right, so there's your kind of weather systems. Let's go ahead and do our sandstorm now. And let me take off the wind. Wow, it's really kind of diminished here. Okay, very intense right along the coastline and this little arm pulling out and everything. But as soon as it gets out to the Atlantic, it's not all white. It's still pretty decent, but looks to be getting broken up in this region all through in here. We do have another little bit of plume here, but this whole thing needs to intensify and stretch out and kind of keep covering that area. We're already seeing storms growing in this region, and they're already starting to talk about hurricanes coming in here, and we need more sand production than that. Meanwhile, over here, oh. For those of you with eyes that see, try to focus on the sandstorm here instead of the eyes. Okay, here we are. Oh, yeah, look at that instead. The only protection I need is from you, McAfee, because you're the one that keeps interrupting my show. All right, so here we are, Saudi Arabia area, Iran, all kind of filling in. Big, huge plume going up this way. We got this one at the Gobi Desert going up that way. And that region of the world is in a lot of trouble. Oh, I wish I hadn't seen that. Okay, let's move on to our SO2, shall we? You guys are pretty strong. I tell you what, man, if you can see that stuff and continue to watch this show, you got a good spiritual foundation. So, guess where I'm going? Right here, our country divided. Can you see it? Do you believe me that our country's divided? Have you seen the mainstream media yet? So, over on one side, bleeding out, we got SO2 emissions. On the other side, we got perforations in the crust. Every time. How does he do that? Okay, let's come on over and do a fire report at the same time. Why don't we? Right now, up here, some of this fire activity has died down. Meanwhile, we still have very intense plumes up here in Canada. Our fire activity is kind of like shifted down to this region now. Not as many as we saw last night, but quite a widespread area of SO2 emissions now. Let me pull back a little bit to give you guys some perspective here of what's going on there. All right, I'm going to let that sit there for a second. I could take a sip here. All right. So, yeah, you can see SO2 emissions so hot they come out of the ground. They set the surrounding vegetation on fire if there's anything nearby. And we're seeing more emissions out of this region. And up here in Idaho, where we're seeing all the fires and stuff, as well as back here into Oregon again. This region further back into here, lighting up again. And then it's creeping into, that's just north of Reno or north of Tahoe up here. We got a fire going out of an SO2 emission spot there. As well as down in this region, down by Mammoth, probably in this area, there's another fire getting started by an SO2 emission, as well as over here. You see this happening over here? Okay, so it's creeping down south, kind of spreading around a little bit now again. I want to see if anything made it past this line. We were looking at some of these sites last night, and they're getting kind of questionable. We did have a good one down here at this site in Louisiana. That was a confirmed one, but the rest of these I can't really. Yeah. Nope. Okay, let's take off the fires here. None. And as we move on through Central America, Caribbean, you can see all these individual sites, all volcanic, not volcanic, but perforations in the crust. Okay, same with this island, Jamaica. We see all these plate boundaries that run through here and stuff as well. Along the Cocos Plate here, relieving pressure. Right over here at the top of South America, Venezuela, Colombia, down through Peru, Chile, on the coast here, emitting a lot of SO2, relieving pressure in that region. Come on over, take a peek at Hawaii. Yes, normal emissions out of there. That's good. What the? No. Let's keep going. Let's adjust for their time. And then as we pop on over here, see China's having their issues, a lot of SO2 emissions out of this very porous ground here, okay? Much like the eastern half of the United States, we have ground that's, very porous. It has a lot of perforations in it. It's just very porous, okay? Hello, JPOS. Thank you for being here, bud. Anyways, we can see this activity kind of continuing to travel northward up into this region, down into the Korean Peninsula. Japan, of course, being a volcanic island, has a lot of SO2 emissions. I like to come over here and check Taiwan here because it's at a fulcrum point on the plate boundary. So we see a lot of SO2 emissions here and thermal anomalies here. So right now, a lot of SO2 coming out of there. We need some more quake activity in that region. A lot of SO2 coming out of this Philippines as well. And our storm that's winding up and ready to just punch China right in the gut right here has picked up a lot of this SO2 and throwing it in there in the mix as well. Coming over here and taking a peek at India, it's getting more and more concentrated. It's darkening in a lot like China is because we have wind patterns that are throwing this up against the Himalayas and it won't go over the Himalayas and it keeps recycling back around and it's starting to thicken up and their plumes are getting more and more intense, which add to that effect as well. Meanwhile, over here we have Saudi Arabia, some intense plumes over here, Turkey, up through Iran, Iraq, around the Caspian Sea, the Black Sea, all the way up into here, Russia, all of Europe. Okay, it's all over the place here. And there were 4 little dots one time on the West Coast, and BP Earthwatcher, yeah, I think it was BP, brought it to everybody's attention, and man, the whole world changed and thought it was the big one. Well, now we have millions of these little spots, and well, doesn't seem to make the evening news anymore. Look at this storm winding up with all this SO2. Oh dear. Okay, shall we move on to our ocean temps? Our sea surface temperature anomalies. Ow. Forgive me, I get little sharp pains. All right, here we go. Going into the Pacific. Everybody wants to know about this region right now. So, actually, kind of calming down in here. That's what's good. We've had some earthquake activity out here on the Juan de Fuca now, and we've also had a lot of tremoring. Okay, their tremor maps are just going off the hook in this region and along there too. So even the little tremors are reducing the pressure as well. So we're seeing like tremor swarms and then some good little earthquakes along the Juan de Fuca here that have kind of backed off this area. It was in yellow. Meanwhile, this region down below is starting to flare up a little more in yellow. Just off the California coast, Northern California, all the way down past the Bay Area. Here's your fulcrum point coming off here. Up here, sorry. No, that's Oregon. Right there. So everything from the tip of California southward along the coast is kind of filling in a little darker there. We have this triangle shape type structure right here that's been going on. It lessened and now it's got this yellow L type thing in the middle of it, but you can still make out the triangle here. Okay, and it's kind of like separated between this zone and this zone where we have Tomumasi and all kinds of seamounts and all kinds of activity going on the ocean floor right there. Meanwhile, over here at Alaska, all these little volcanic islands are all having microquake, SO2 emissions and stuff, relieving pressure in that area, allowing for cold water inundation. Same with Conchacna over here a little bit. We've seen a lot of volcanoes and earthquake activity. There's a little bit of cold water in there. But I also want to come over here and look at Taiwan. Again with Taiwan. Yellow around this region, growing in between the Philippines and Taiwan. This little pocket of cold water is starting to kind of get pinched off again. We're seeing a build up in this region again. Also down here, Java, we don't see any hot water because, well, it relieves a lot with SO2. We didn't even do SO2 for that area, did we? Pretty decent today. I'll make sure this little island's still pumping too. All right. Not very strong today, but still two small little plumes there. That's good. Let's take it back to where we were here. Bingo was his Nemo. All right. Little heat plumes growing off of Sri Lanka and India right there. Just let you kind of look around. You see all these little yellow ones down the bottom of the planet, all individual sites. So no place, well, except for maybe right in there, is really free of this activity. But meanwhile, we come up here and are you kidding me? There is your heat plume activity kind of really branching up this way now, kind of split up around this area and kind of branching out into little individual pockets. Look at this running along the coastline here. And that's following the currents and stuff, but a lot of hot water getting pulled into that current right there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to put on our winds, hit play, and you'll see your corresponding conveyor belt type structure wind patterns matching up with your heat signatures because, well, hot water creates hot air over it. Cold water has cold air over it. So hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it, and your air patterns are matching your heat signatures. And that's winding up this big old storm right here. The thing about this storm, though, is look at this pattern that we had before where air was skirting the coastline and bringing it back out, right? We actually have a flow coming reverse from shore out into the water, kind of blowing stuff away now, not just traveling south and skirting back out. This is actually like a little fan blowing weather back out and away. You see how it's flowing over this area? It comes right up along the coast and then pushes out. So that's a new effect. Before it was just skirting the coast. It would come down and just head right back out. But we actually have air coming up and turning and going backward and pushing, well, inland air out to sea. We're here on the West Coast. It's always coming from the ocean inland. So this is a reverse flow right here. All induced by these heat signatures. Yes or no? If you can't see it, let me leave it right there and I'll stop moving around so you can, all right? But indeed, your flow asymmetries are correlating with your heat, your thermal heat anomalies. And this is what's controlling your weather pattern. It's no longer your lower jet stream and your upper jet stream. We got this thermal heat structure, these conveyor belt structures that are controlling our weather. And I was trying to tell you, if we get a certain kind of structure pattern, you could see a storm like cold, hot, right next to each other in a vortex form over one area and not move, and just be a storm over one area for like a week. And now Mike from around the world is starting to talk about that a little bit. He's trying to clue you in too, the best he can, as to what's going on here. It's a very, very sensitive subject, very hard topic to address. Okay, and the only reason why I do it is because, well, I've seen the spiritual realm. It's real, and I'm trying to give you guys the lowdown on what's going on, so you'll understand. And yeah. So let's go ahead and just check out our conveyor belt structure for the Atlantic now. All right. At this point, we should be having hurricane after hurricane after hurricane coming off of here. And we have had the sandstorm quelling that production. You see the lessening of the sandstorm, and now you're starting to see some hurricanes form. Everybody hold on tight, because here come the potential for some hurricanes for our region. What I want you to focus on really carefully here, and I'm just going to set it right there for a minute, are your inside conveyor belt loop. We're starting to see this. This is weird. But your inside loop, and now this has kind of disrupted your inside loop. Remember, it used to skirt the shoreline nice and boldly and strong? No, that's been all kind of curlicued because of this. All right, so now we have this disruption in our inside loop. Notice how everything is being really dragged through the outside loop. Look how well defined and organized your outside loop is. All right. Now, this is kind of making me a little sick in my stomach here. So I'm going to go say a quick prayer, and I will be back in 1 minute here. I'll let you guys kind of take a peek at this. And what I want to do is I'll just kind of try to give you both structures in one shot there. And you can see how your weather patterns are going to come up from the Gulf, right up through the middle of the country, and then out this way. Now, each day a different plume, something opens up and changes. But for right now, there's your structures for right now. And give me 30 seconds. It'll give you guys a minute to get popcorn or go to the bathroom or something. I'll be right back. I want to say a quick little prayer really quick, and I'll be right back. Wow. Oh, man. Thank you for your patience. You guys will be right there. That is, you don't see that. Okay, now let's get back to the show, shall we? Thank you for your tolerance and patience. Whew. So let's get out of this map and get on over to our earthquake report now. 4.4 down at 549 right there, and 4.5 at 210. So that's not our deep quake. There's your typical mid-range 4 deep quake, putting 5 energy at the surface. This island kind of quells some of that, but let's see what we got. We got us a 5, and it's down at 109. It's not a plate boundary. That's why. If it were a plate boundary quake, it probably would have been a little less. This is down at 109. This is on this little volcanic, so this little chain of volcanic islands running down here, these seamounts all in a row. This is the next in that series to break the surface. All right, so down here, we're getting a new little seamount rumbling around down in there, because it's down, its depth isn't at the surface. It's not on the plate boundary. That's not your typical 5 plate boundary activity that we're used to seeing. That's a volcano. Meanwhile, very quiet through this region. This island spewing a lot of SO2, as well as this little guy. All these volcanoes going off through there too. Help relieve a lot of pressure. A little deep quake region, but this looks on the plate boundary. It's not. Again, another little volcanic island. You got a plate boundary right here. This is down at 150. There's something going on at the base of this little volcano here. I think you see how this has a base, almost kind of triangular in shape a little bit, but right here at the base of that volcano is your 4.6 down at 150. Everybody watch out for this little guy, might pop to life and start spewing SO2 or whatever. Let's continue, shall we? Let's come on up here and pop that one open. A 4.3 down at 80. This again is not a plate boundary, something, a little seamount, something going on down here. We'll have to watch that region. Here we go, 4.6 at 68 and a 4.8. This is closer to the surface, this 4.8. This one, this volcanic ridge, look. See this little volcano sticking up right there out of the ocean? It's right at the flank of it. And this volcanic ridge right here, this is on the flank of that. We come up here to this fulcrum point right here, okay? This is a fulcrum point. It doesn't see a lot of activity a lot because, well, you see how it's kind of broken off. This technically used to be connected here, and someone went and shoved it way over there, right? So now it's broken away. This island and this island have their own little separate little, see the plate, the edges of it right there are broken away. So this fulcrum point trying to reach down to this other part of the plate where it broke off before. This is a, ooh, there's another one in there too. 5.3 and a 5.0 here. That's good. That relieves some pressure in that region right there. See this plateau area? And then it goes way down to the ocean canyon floor down there, down to the plate boundary. But these are walls that come up to like a tabletop up here. And right along the edge of that tabletop, that weak zone right through there, it's your quake going off. What we need to see is more activity here at Taiwan. We had one the other day, but we need more of that. Meanwhile, over here, 4.6 down at 21. Little activity up here at the Kamchatka. 4.7 down at 35. Right off where we had our bigger quake up here before. And no aftershocks. That's good. That's good. Relieving pressure in this region right there. All right, let's come on over. All quiet through here along this plate boundary, even the fulcrum point. We come up here past this fulcrum point over here to the Gobi Desert, 4.3. Remember what was sitting over this area, right? 4.9 at the surface, at Cyprus. What do we do with 4.9s here? we add them to the longest list in the world, which is 4.9 magnitude on the USGS. So 4.5 or 4.9 to 5 right here at Cyprus, right along this plate boundary right here. The depth on this is down. This is whole plateau is like risen up above the ocean here. We have volcanic structure all through there. So that big old volcanic island, and that would be on the flank of it. Well. A 5.0 at a depth of 2.5. So that's good. That's relieving energy along this plate boundary right here, okay? And we need a lot of energy relieved here at Iceland because they've been seeing a lot of volcano activity. So it's kind of died off a little bit, but now we're starting to see some quake activity out of it, which is good. It's good. Got to remember, this relieves pressure as well. Cause and effect, action reaction. Fulcrum point quake 4.0 down 31. That's pretty shallow for this region too. Okay, we're gonna go all magnitude and jump into America. Does it bug you guys when I say it that way? Tough. I love you guys. You're awesome. All right, really kind of quiet out along this peninsula or along this chain of volcanic islands today. We've seen a couple of good quakes out of this region and those 33-foot matching 33,000 foot tall matching blasts out of the volcanoes up here. Okay. Come on in here, give us a little magnitude check, 3.5. That's our good typical readings for that region. Very minimal microquaking along the fulcrum points, multiple fulcrum points. Okay. Come on down to Wanda Fuker, what everybody wants to know about. 1.6 up there. We got some quaking at Mount St. Helens, none at that one. And then no fulcrum point quakes, nothing along the plate boundary, nothing on the Wanda Fuca. We need more activity along here. Even though it's looking, a little bit better here. Let me take off the wind. Kill that wind. Even though it's looking a little better along here, we still have this inner plate still glowing red, okay? We got this yellow right off the coast, too. It's relieving a lot of the pressure, okay? But it's also an indication, too, that there's a lot going on out here. We've seen a relief up here. We've seen a growth down here. We could use some activity along this plate boundary as well to relieve this pressure. This is where I'm going to have to start warning people in the Bay Area now of the potential for larger quakes because look at this growing off the coast. We've seen relief in here. You even see the little line that had formed on the inside plate boundary. Now that's diminished and gone. Now we got more of a defined opposite negative line out on the outside plate boundary. Pull back just a tad there. Sorry. Coming out here and going up. Okay, so we did see a little reduction when we had some earthquake activity. So we could use a little more out there. All right, nothing really driving inland, just our geysers right here. What's this? 2.2. And what happened to this that was above? Oh, that was the fire. Okay, this region right here, these two quakes that are on your plate boundary right there, okay, that 1.4 and 1.9, it relieves a little bit, but we could use a little more of that, okay? Nothing too much over 5 because we don't want to, a lot of people in that region right there. But we do need to relieve pressure in that area, so we could use some more of this little micro quaking anywhere anywhere north of this, even inland. Sorry, let's see the geysers really go off. That would help. Um, over here is our little. Well. Round Valley, California, 3.5 with a couple of little aftershocks here. Okay, that's good. That's relieving energy in that area. We got this little flurry going on out there. I'm kind of looking. We need more activity through there. It's too quiet. What's going on down here? 2 and a 2.9. And this other little one, yeah, some activity, but we need more. These aren't very big. 2.2, 1.3. We got stuff creeping up into here. Clear Creek, Utah. Kenosha, Utah. Milford, Utah. Canaraville? All right, let's keep moving on. Sorry. Quick magnitude check here in Texas. About 2's going off in Texas. Man-made perforations in the crust. Up here, Oklahoma, 2.5. Okay, now for this. Here is your oddball diverse quake. A 4.4 here at San Juan Jose del Cabo, down here at the tip of Baja, California. It's not on the plate boundary. It's not really a fulcrum point, even though it's landmass sticking up above the water. You can see this little shelf that runs along it. It's kind of we don't usually see quake activity here. I don't think there's a volcanic site here. Let's just double check. And this is out in the water too. So yeah, we got us a little diverse quake there. Okay, we'll have to watch this little region now because that's a different little spot, and it could be we get pressure around this Cocos plate and it tries to push up through this way. And if it doesn't, go along the fracture zone and it starts happening at diverse spots like that, it tells me that this area is kind of locked up a little bit. All right. And if you look at how jagged back and forth this whole little plate boundary is through there, zigzag, it's hard to get that to move, because each one they're like teeth catching on each other. So this could lock up. And I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of quake activity out here. And we're going to have to watch that. That's a new path of least resistance right there. Be possibly a new weak spot right there. Meanwhile, a little quick jump over here. 3.3, not too bad. All right, so all in all, there's your quake activity for tonight or for today. Okay, let's move on now and take out some of these instruments because they gobble up so much. Get rid of that one as well. Open up volcano page here. Thank you for your patience, you guys. I had a lot of this already pulled up, and then imagine the frustration when you gotta restart everything all over again, and you're going to be late. But doesn't matter. We made it. Here we are, 35 erupting. That's more than the 32 that are currently active. So we have more erupting than active. You add those two together because, well, you have to. They're all active. These ones are erupting and these are still active. Okay, so you add them together, you get 67 volcanoes. That's a lot of volcanoes. I mean, 7 years ago when this stuff started happening to me, we only had one. And if I'd have told you back then, hey, 7 years from now, you're going to have almost 70 volcanoes going off, you would have said, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are. 7 years later, we got 67 of them, and I'm still crazy about you. Whew, got that out of the way. Do you guys like that or not? I'll leave it out if you don't. 6,000 out of Suwanosejima Semeru. 14 or 15. It usually 14 or 15. All right. Here we go. Let's get into the third, which is today is now yesterday because, well, time flies here at this channel. A lot of pressure being relieved up in this area with all these active volcanoes. Same with this little region right through here. That's why you don't see much plate boundary quakeage because these are all doing their job. Over here, this whole island chain from Sumatra all the way through Java and going through there are a bunch of active volcanoes that are currently just every day going off. Okay, so they relieve a lot of pressure in that region. You got Stromboli and Etna, both active now over here. Okay. Svarensky, that thing go off anytime. So it just had its activity. Meanwhile, all along this coastline, see all that? This map used to never exist. Okay. The only reason why it exists now is because, well, we have 67 volcanoes going off. Don't tell the mainstream media. They would say, oh, you're crazy. Anyways, don't forget about way down here, Michael and South Sandwich Islands here, and even down in Antarctica. Okay. Karaminski in the Kamchatka, 5,000 or 9,000, I'm sorry. Shivalush, also in the Kamchatka. No elevation. Okay. Kekai, 5,000. Suwanosejima, 7. Ibu or IBU at 8,000 feet. Excuse me. Luatobi at 8,000. Semeru, 14 or 15 usually. 8,000 out of Dukono. White Island, still low level eruptions, keeping those people on their toes. 20,000 out of Popocatépetl. Santa Guido, still visible nighttime glow. Fuego, explosive activity to 15,000 feet. Nevada del Ruiz, 24,000. There's your big blast right there, Nevada del Ruiz in Colombia. Again, here at Sabancaya, 24,000 as well. Those are some pretty good blasts. You know, that relieves a lot of pressure. And don't get these kind of dogs because, well, when the Schumann resonance goes nuts, okay, let's go ahead and move on to our weather. Okay. And so many factors in our weather. Boy, I can't even list them all. But very, very volatile conditions. We could have geomagnetic storm enhancement. We got so many particulates, so much water that storms dump a lot more moisture. Taller thunderheads produce stronger storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, large hail, high winds, the whole gambit. Okay. Current conditions, nighttime of the 3rd, going into tomorrow morning. Noon, convection in Louisiana, Gulf Coast region, nighttime. You're going to have severe weather nighttime of September 4th, okay? Even down here in Mexico where you're seeing that flash flooding down there. Going in, even residuals in the morning. Blossoming at noon on the 5th. There's convection and still hanging around at nighttime. So this region, starting from tomorrow morning, about noontime on, through the next day into the nighttime, the morning of the 6th, noon, convection of the 6th, 7th, or nighttime of the 6th, There's the 7th. Now this thing has kind of changed now. And let's back up and see how it comes up like this and goes nighttime convection there. And then in the morning, there are residuals here along this vertical frontal boundary right there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Then we go noontime convection. You see how this tail's whipping around like this. Convection of the 7th, and then nighttime. Morning of the 8th, noon, convection, nighttime, 9, noon, convection, nighttime, 10, noon, convection, nighttime, 11, noon, convection, nighttime, 12, convection, nighttime, 13. And we're pretty clear for a while after that. Everything kind of behaving down there as well. Nighttime, or noon the 13th, convection, here we go, convection around Florida, nighttime, 14, noon, convection, nighttime, 15, noon, convection, nighttime, 16, sorry, noon, convection, nighttime, 17, noon, convection, nighttime, 18, noon, convection, nighttime, 20, noon, convection, nighttime. Wow. So we got this little disturbance to deal with, and then on the 7th, this one. And after that clears out, it gets pretty clear for a long time there for the whole country. Look at that. And that stuff down in Florida is so far out in the future that that's going to all be subject to change too. So pretty quick weather report tonight with some good news to talk about. Watch out for stuff like this up in Canada, but that's way out there. Okay, a lot of other factors can change this, so let's just pray it stays this way. Meanwhile, the next couple of days, you guys here starting at about, well, back here a little bit here in Texas, current conditions, but then by convection tomorrow, going into the nighttime in Louisiana, still through the daytime, noon again, the 5th, at convection in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama area around there, and then at nighttime, morning of the 6th, 7th, right here. When it finally clears out of here on the 7th, and this starts to take form. Now watch out up here in Canada. This low and this vertical, this vertical linear storm front. It's a QLCS, but it's vertical. Instead of being at an angle north to east, or northeast to east like this one's gone almost, reverse backwards. We'll have to watch out for this little trough right there when it digs in like that. Because at noon, convection, this could possibly all blossom. Whoops, dang it, I clicked on that. That whole arm could possibly blossom, okay? All right, enough of that. Let's move on and get our spiritual report done. You guys made it through the astrophysics and geophysics. Now it's time for metaphysics, which is how your soul works, how you work, the physics of you, what you're here for. You're here for some peace. Come here, you. I want that one. Thank you. All right. Here we go. I know, keep pulling up the same little images. It's because they need to be tattooed on your brain. I'm not trying to brainwash you, but I am washing out all the junk that's in there that society has. And remember, however much you plug in is how much you get wrapped up in the political stuff and all the chaos going on. So when you need to take a break from it, well, you can always just click on the tail end of any of my live streams and catch any one of these spiritual reports. Anytime you need to step aside, you can take a little break, and just click on one of these and come on over and take a few deep breaths, and then we'll do our thing. Whoops. I really want to write. Where is it? Zoom in one more time. There it is. I missed it. Oh, well, that's good enough right there. So we got this one, we got that one, and then this one. Giant face by the moon is a weird one, but another sign. Okay, there's going to be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, stress in nations, perplexity. Well, because they don't understand. This is spiritual realms going off. There we go. And there's my face showing up out by the sun. And usually when I turn on this book light like this to read my notes over here, the face kind of shines on my face, like half of my face like that. So that's what I look like when I'm reading this stuff to you. Okay. And this event actually took place during our show on it was a leap day, February 29th at 1:11 in the morning. And well, it's about 1:28 right now. So it was the same time frame that I was doing the reading that this appeared next to the moon. Not in the clouds. This is out next to the moon. It's something totally different. Okay. Boy, where we go from here? We got that one stacked on that. Okay, good. Here we go. I got some good stuff for you guys. So get all settled in, take a deep breath, and here we go. When we're doing this, it's for a reason, because there's a mighty battle going on for control of your mind. Heaven and earth intersect in your mind. The tugs of both spheres of influence on your thinking, okay, they both tug at your. Let me say that again. Heaven and earth intersect in your mind. Both heaven and earth are like spheres that tug at your influence, and they influence your thinking. So I created you with the capacity to experience foretastes of heaven. Okay, you are experiencing a foretaste of heaven, and I created you with that capacity. So when you shut out the world and focus on my presence, you can enjoy sitting with me in heavenly realms. This is an incredible privilege reserved for precious ones who belong to me and seek my face. Your greatest strength is your desire to spend time communing with me. As you concentrate on me, my spirit fills your mind with life and peace. The world exerts a downward pull on your thoughts. The media bombards you with greed, lust, and cynicism. So when you face these things, pray for protection and discernment. Stay in continual communication with me whenever you walk through the wastelands of this world. And refuse, I say again, refuse to worry, because this is a form of worldliness. When you're worried about the world. It's a worldliness. It's a form of worldliness. So refuse to worry, because that form of worldliness will weigh you down, and it will block your awareness of my presence. So stay alert, recognizing the battle being waged against your mind. Guys, recognizing the battle that's being waged against your mind yet? Have you seen it out there in the media, in society? Do you recognize the battle? Because there is one, and you need to stay alert, recognizing the battle being waged against your mind. So look forward to an eternity of strife-free living. Okay, stress-free, strife-free, worry-free. Okay, look forward to an eternity of that reserved for you in heaven. Oh, Boom. Hi. Try to see things more and more from my perspective. Let the light of my presence so fully fill your mind that you view the world through me. Okay, so try to see things more and more from my perspective. Let the light of my presence so fully fill your mind. I mean, all the little nooks and crannies in your mind, so that you view the world through me. And when little things don't go as you had hoped, look to me lightheartedly and say, oh, well. This simple discipline can protect you from being burdened with an accumulation of petty cares and frustrations. You guys just love to go accumulate all these petty cares and frustrations. So I can protect you from being burdened with those petty cares and frustrations. Look to me and lightheartedly say, oh, well. It's a simple discipline. It's just hard to do. Simple stuff. It's just hard to do in the moment. When you're in the moment and you're mad, it's hard to just throw your hands up and go, oh, well, okay. It's a simple discipline. It's hard to do, but it can protect you from being burdened with your petty cares and frustrations. So if you practice this diligently, you will make a life-changing discovery. You realize that most of the things that worry you are not important. And if you shrug them off immediately and return your focus to me, you will walk through your days with lighter steps and a joyful heart. Then, when serious problems come your way, you will have more reserves for dealing with them, for dealing with the serious problems. When they do come your way, you will have reserves for dealing with them. You will have tools. You'll have experience too. And you will not have to squander your energy on petty problems. You may even reach the point where you can agree with the Apostle Paul that all your troubles are light and momentary compared with the, well, eternal glory of being achieved by them. Okay, so there's each time you're achieving something, it's an eternal glory that's being achieved. So reach the point where all your troubles are light and momentary compared with the eternal glory being achieved by them. Your troubles are achieving eternal glory. So reach the point where you can see all your troubles are light and momentary, and that they that compared with the eternal glory that's being achieved by them. You guys are standing strong now in the midst of the turmoil. So that's why it's important that we do this, that you wait quietly in my presence while my thoughts form silently in the depths of your being. I want my thoughts to form silently in the depths of your being. So wait quietly in my presence. Do not try to rush this process, because hurry keeps your heart earthbound. I am the creator of the entire universe, yet I choose to make my humble home in your heart. It is there where you know me most intimately. It is there where I speak to you in holy whispers. Ask my spirit to quiet your mind so that you can hear my still, small voice within you. I am speaking to you continually words of life, peace, truth, and love. So tune your heart to receive these messages of abundant blessing. Trust me and refuse to worry. I am your strength and song. You are feeling wobbly these mornings, looking at difficult times looming ahead, measuring those times against your own strength. In the morning, you're feeling a little wobbly. You're looking at the day ahead going, oh, am I going to be able to make it through this day? You're measuring your strength against your difficulties. So find me. I am your strength and song. So when you're feeling wobbly, look at the difficulty times and then don't measure them against your own strength. However, they are not today's tasks or even tomorrow's. So leave your feelings. You're looking into the future. Leave those with me. Okay? They are not today's tasks or even tomorrow's, so leave them in the future and come home to the present where you will find me waiting for you. And since I am your strength, I can empower you to handle each task as it comes. There's the hard one to do. It sounds simple, but let me give you strength to empower each task as it comes. A lot of people want strength for the whole day all at once right away. Well, I give it out in little bits. So I empower you to handle each task as it comes. So practice doing it that way. And because I am your song, I can give you joy as you work alongside me. So keep bringing your mind back to the present moment. Among all my creatures, only humans can anticipate future events, and this ability is a blessing, but it becomes a curse whenever it's misused. So if you use your magnificent mind to worry about tomorrow, well, you cloak yourself in the dark unbelief. However, when the hope of heaven fills your thoughts, the light of my presence then envelops you, just like this, just like that image. And though heaven is the future, it is also present tense. Did you know that? Heaven is the future, it is also present tense. So as you walk in the light with me, you have 1 foot on earth and 1 foot in heaven. Don't you? You have 1 foot on earth and you have 1 foot in heaven. Heaven is your future, and it's also the present. As you walk in the light with me, you have 1 foot on earth and 1 foot in heaven. And you got McAfee, too, popping up to cover up my face. All right. 1 more to go, I think. Is that the closer? Or this one? Yeah, this is a closer right here. Ooh, a good one, too. All right, hold on tight. Here we go. So, walk with me in the freedom of forgiveness. Okay? The path we follow together is sometimes steep and slippery. And if you carry a burden of guilt on your back, you're more likely to stumble and fall. So, at your request, I will remove the heavy load from you and bury it at the foot of the cross. When I unburden you, you are undeniably free. Stand up straight and tall in my presence so that no one can place more burdens on your back. Look into my face and feel the warmth of my love light shining upon you. Here, let's go back. That one right there. Read that one more time. At your request, okay, I don't just remove the heavy load. It has to be at your request. So commune with me, and at your request, I will remove the heavy load from you. Quit carrying around that backpack full of rocks. I will remove it and bury it at the foot of the cross. And when I unburden you, you will feel that relief. You will be undeniably free. Try it. Stand up straight and tall in my presence so that no one can place more burdens on your back. Look into my face and feel the warmth of my love light shining upon you. Look into my face and feel the warmth of my love light shining upon you. It is this unconditional love that frees you from both fears and sins. Spend time basking in the light of my presence. And as you come to know me more and more intimately, you grow increasingly free. Don't you? I love you guys. I miss you guys. I would love to drag out a nice long show. I gotta get some rest because I got more to go. All right. Sorry we didn't get to that one much, but there we go. Important that you guys get this. Try it, practice it, find the freedom, find a little slice of heaven right now. You're getting tastes of it right here. Okay? You can have 1 foot on earth and 1 foot in heaven. All right? I love you guys. I miss you guys. And until my next show, I will be back. I am back. You're caught up with me in the clouds. This is me coming in the clouds with power and great glory on Easter. 2,000-year-old prophecy took place on Easter over my head. These faces follow me everywhere I go. This happened on Easter. This is my face in the clouds, coming with power and great glory. You are caught up with me in the clouds. I would love to come over and give you a big hug, but I can't. So I meet my family in the air. That's the cyberspace, live streaming on YouTube. Okay, that's how I got to connect with my family. So you're caught up with me in the clouds. We met in the air. You are what they would say, raptured. I complete your faith. Many of you are practicing these principles now and salvaging your days and finding that it indeed does work, and you do indeed feel better inside because I am. And I miss you. Until my next show, I will be back. I'm already back. Can't you tell? Bye. I'll be back.